Hello, everybody. My name is Kashawn Hopkins. I'm an instructional technology specialist from Oklahoma Public School Resource Center, and today I'm here to talk about Nearpod. I'm going to be joined here with my colleague here. I'm going to let him introduce himself.
Hello, I'm Kurt Bernhardt, Director of Technology for OPSRC. Kashawn and I make up the tech team here.
And if you ever want to reach out to us, you can do so through techteam@opsrc.net. I have the email up here, as well as a link to the slides. This is case sensitive, so I'm going to read it out real quick. It's lowercase t period ly slash uppercase h lowercase v uppercase a and then the number 1. And it should get you access to these slides. I think this is a great resource, and I have a couple of links in which I'll show a little bit later. But first, I want to focus in on Nearpod. For those who are unfamiliar with this very popular tool, it is a very wonderful, robust, formative assessment tool. So I'm going to show a little bit of that by showing you the demo that's here. If you want, you're very welcome to follow along. So this is kind of displaying two views here. On the left-hand side is a teacher device. This would be like a computer, but you could also use like a tablet as well. And on the right-hand side is a student device, basically anything that has a browser attached to it. You can take advantage of that. I'm going to log in here. You can do so if you want by going to join.nearpod.com and then entering that code that's up there, the LU8V6. It's the same code I see on the right hand side. So I'm doing it for myself over here while I'm talking here. So I'm joined in. Great, great, great. And let's get that. Oh, I need to put a name in there. So let's do that. Okay. There we go. Join that lesson. And then now I can start seeing what's being displayed here. So keep in mind, left-hand side is the teacher device, right-hand side is the student device. Right now, this is kind of like the classic mode. So this is teachers controlling all of the devices right now. And at certain points, there are slides where students are invited to engage with the material here. So I'm in control here. I can use the arrows to move throughout the slides, but do keep in mind, I'll mention this a bit later, that there is kind of like a student-led, student-directed version of this. Kind of like, I imagine you'd be using this in this way in like the classroom, so you could stop at every slide and add a little bit extra if you'd want to. But note here, here is one of those activity slides here, an open-ended style question. What is something you already know about the solar system? So I can put there, some planets have moons, something like that, and then I can submit it. Now, on my teacher screen, I can see the people who are in here. I can see who's participated, who hasn't participated. It gives me a little percentage there, and I can even click the share button and share answers with the class as well. So pretty nice. You can see, you can highlight really great answers that you can use to kind of drive direction here. Additionally, on top of that, you can click the open whiteboard button and make some annotations here, just in case you have to make some on-the-fly notes here as well for students to have that can make some work here. I think this will work really nicely with like working on a math problem or something like that. Very cool. I am digging that. All right, let me go to the next one. There are a bunch of different activities. I believe it's like 10 different activities with different ways for people to engage. Like, for example, this is a matching pairs activity where students can click a picture and they have to match it with the text here. So like, for example, the sun is a star. Pluto is a dwarf planet. Let me get one wrong. Let's say Mercury is a gas giant, so it's kind of interactive there. You can see people participating on the left-hand side, and I'm running out of time here, so let's answer this really quick here. Boom, boom. And I can see who's finished and who's not working. And it even gives a little message here. Time's up. There we go. Very nice. That way people aren't spending too much time. You can maximize that class time. And there's a bunch of different activities, like there's a drawing activity like the one you see here where we're labeling the drawings. I have another slide here. I see there's a little exit ticket where you can give people quizzes here, so you can get kind of right or wrong questions. That way you can kind of assess where everybody's learning is at. Or you could do a poll where you don't necessarily have to grade it. You just want to hear from your students. And I think these are great for like kind of reflective pieces where you have these students kind of assess themselves. Just give them an opportunity to reflect and say how do they feel about these lessons, and a little slide for homework as well. So yeah, quite good and really easy to set up. And I'll show you how to get into all of that. But first, a little schedule of what is going on in the next 20 something minutes over here that I have with you all. First, you've already gone through my introduction. I'm going to move on into some considerations, just some things that I would like us to think about as kind of like a setting up a kind of a foundation for this technology tool that I want to go over here. So there's that. Then I'm going to focus on the tool itself, showcase how to get into it for the first time, and do a couple of basic functions like set up your own Nearpods here. Next, I will go into the tool application section. I invite you at that point to imagine what will this tool look like inside of your classroom, and then wrap things up by sharing some resources with you, asking you to do an evaluation. It helps us out with that a lot, and then answering any questions you might have. So without further ado, let's jump on in. First of all, my objective. After this training, teachers will be able to integrate Nearpod in their classroom to assess students and help them achieve their learning goals. So I would like to break down this objective just a little bit so we have focus, because I don't want people to just introduce technology into the classroom. I want us to do that with intention, to have some kind of results, to really put the tip of the spear on this fantastic tool that's out there. And so one question that I ask is, why do we assess? Now, you might have a bunch of different ways that you can answer that. I do give a couple of suggestions here on just keeping an idea of how you can use this tool. I get these answers from this article from Edutopia. I think it's pretty good, so I linked it here, called Why is Assessment Important? But the basic idea is they point out 5 different things, ways that you can use an assessment, like give feedback, apply standards, evaluate progress. These 2 I particularly like because relating progress is about taking, because whenever you do an assessment, it's more like a snapshot that you have of a student. You only have an idea of how they're doing on that given day. But when you connect those snapshots together in a story, you get a fuller picture of the student's understanding. So I think that's a good one. And the reports feature inside of Nearpod does a really good job in helping you with that. And also motivating performance. This is a tool about engagement. It's about getting the students more active in what they're trying to do here, and also give you important information so you could just improve on the instruction so that you can make improvements on yourself as well. So those are some things to keep in mind as far as assessments. Another thing to keep in mind as we're working through this is how to integrate technology. There's lots of different ways to answer this question, but my recommendation, if you don't have one already, is take a look at the SAMR model. I think this is an easy, flexible model that you can use. The basic idea is when you introduce technology in the classroom, there's different ways, different functions it could have inside of your classroom. And these are just some different things to look at. Like, for example, using technology as a direct substitute for something you're already doing, or using it, taking advantage of some certain functions of it to make improvements in your class, or you could use it to completely design a task around it, or you could use it to create a task that you haven't, that wouldn't be possible without the tool existing here. So yeah, this is something that I'm going to bring up a little bit later. So you can see kind of it in action. And just because there's categories in here doesn't necessarily mean how you use a piece of technology will fit into one or the other. It could fit in multiple categories at a time. Really, to get kind of like a fully realized picture, it would be awesome if you could take advantage of the different levels here. But I think it just comes down to comfort with the tool itself. But I'll show a bit of that later. Okay, let's talk about what you're all here for, which is Nearpod. First of all, basic definition. What is it? It's a platform where educators can insert activities into lessons or videos. So unfortunately, I won't have time to kind of show off that part, but it's very similar where you can insert slides into videos as well. Like if you upload them to YouTube, and then you could insert slides into them and share them into Nearpod. But I'm going to do the lessons here. What can it do for your classroom? Tons of features in here, like you can import your own stuff in there, like if you have a PDF or a slide deck in Google, or you got a PowerPoint, you can put that all in there and use it. Like I said before, there's 10 different activities for students to engage in, so you could try something different and reach different students here. You can either do it a teacher or student control. I really like the idea of putting that putting all of this kind of on the students and kind of center the lesson around them. There is a huge library in there. I'm very much looking forward to that because I think it's a real nugget of gold here for this tool that I'll show in a bit. And there's some lovely filters in there. And also you are able to generate post-session reports as well, which I'm hoping I have some time for that. I think it's really powerful. So I want to jump on in. And the last question, where do I access it? Of course, nearpod.com. I'm going to go there. Now I'm already at the dashboard, but something to keep in mind is that you can sign in with a Google or Microsoft account, or you could create a separate one, that's fine. But yeah, if you already have a Google account, awesome, great. You're able to just log straight in. It will ask you a few questions like, are you an educator? Are you a student? What's kind of like your use on that? And then from there, you'll be taken to this dashboard here. Now, one of the things I really like, especially for first-time users, is just having that guidance on where to go, where to start, what are some things you can do. And at the very top of my screen, I have Get Started with Nearpod, which helped me out when I was learning of this tool. It kind of shows you step-by-step what things you can do, like play with the demo, which is the same demo I shared with you all a second ago. You could explore resources like the library here is on the left-hand side. You can build and edit. I already have a couple of Nearpods on here, but I'll show you how to do a blank one, start from scratch. And then of course, starting up that Nearpod in your classroom. So yeah, let's break a little bit of this down. First, left-hand side over here in this little navigation bar, I'm going to click on Nearpod Library. This is filled with not only fully complete lessons, but they have videos in here. They have the separate activities. They have collections based off of certain publishers. Like Nearpod has some really great partnerships in here. If you just click on publisher, you can see a wild amount of things that are already built out from you, already from published so some big name publishers you can see through here that you can pull from and already embed into your class. Or, you know, if you go to the left-hand side, you can filter things down. Like, for example, you could search for standards by your state. I could go over in here and look for Oklahoma standards. I could search for a science subject here. And I don't know, let's do high school science here. And oh man, they even have the strands in here. That's really nice in here. So extra filters even I didn't know about. You can find a lesson that works for you. You can pull it in and you can make any edits that you want on this. And all of this stuff is made, you can see who's publishing it here. So on the top left-hand corner of each one of these cards, you can see like this is made by Fed Interactive, or they're made by the Nearpod team. So, you know, high quality stuff that you can just pull right into your class. Very nice, very easy, very straightforward stuff here. So once you find something you like, you can go into there and add it to your library. If you want to access your library, anything that you create here, you can see some quick stuff down here. But additionally, you can click on Nearpod library to get into any of this. So these are all the things that are already pulled into my classroom here. Let's see what's next here. Ooh, something that I want to make sure that I cover in here is I can click on reports on the left-hand side. And you can see the data from Nearpods that we've done already. So I'm going to click on the solar system one that we've done together just now. Yeah, 610. So this would be this first one here. So if I click on that, I can see automatically build charts out for me. I can see participation reports at the ready. I can skip and filter this down to specific questions. And all of these are built out for me. So very lovely. And then at the very top, I can download it. Click the download button. You got the CSV, you got the PDF, session view, a student view on there, or you could share it out and send this out to an email, no problem. So very nice reports. All of that was built out for me. I didn't have to do anything. All right, doing great on time, cool. All right, let's go back. All right, now I've showed you a lot of the supplemental stuff here. Let's get into the meat of this. So let's create a Nearpod from scratch here. So, well, sort of. I'm going to sort of cheat here. I have slides already put in here as well. But if you click on Create, you have a couple of options here. You could go to Lesson, you can do a video, you could pull something from Google Slides to get yourself started. If I click on Lesson, I am given a space here. So you can think about this like if you used PowerPoint or Google Slides or anything, like these are displaying a preview of the slides that you're working with here. So right now there's nothing in here, but I can drag and drop items in here. Like if I have a PDF or PowerPoint or something, I can drive it in here, or I can click on Add a Slide. Then I can choose between any piece of content here. The most common stuff would be the video and the slide, but there's extra items in here that you can select from. And there's also, if I click the Activities tab here, these are the different ways that students can engage in here. Yeah, so pretty awesome that you can do this, and you can build everything out directly from Nearpod. Like you have some basic slide building features here. But I want to work smarter, not harder here. I already have some slides that I've imported in here. Yeah, that I want to take advantage of. Where, sorry, let me go back out of here. Oh, I got a little bit in the weeds there. Okay, there it is, the TechTalk edit one. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to edit this. There we go. Oh, I already have some stuff from before, but that's fine. I can always add some things in. But what I want to show you is once you've imported a file, you can do it by clicking on that bottom button that says Upload Files. You can either pull something that you already have locally, or you could pull something from your Google Drive. So if you have created slides, you can just select it through there, go through the steps of accepting permission for it to have access to that, and then it will upload this here. Excuse me. Yeah, excuse me. But once you have slides uploaded into here, you can start inserting content in here. So I'm going to click on Add Slide again. I'm going to go into Activities, and you can select things from here. You know, you got your basic stuff, like I got this open-ended question. I can select that. And it's really easy to build out these slides. Here's the question. Let's go with what ice cream. Woo, excuse me again. What ice cream flavor do you enjoy? I don't know. Open-ended question. You have a couple of formatting options, you know, just the basic stuff, but it gets the job done. On the right-hand side, you can add timers in here to maximize that time. Students don't spend too much time on something like this. So I can add something in here down to the minute and second. I can add an image there on the right-hand side, or a piece of audio. There's a bunch of different pieces of content that you can add to make it just a little bit more robust. Another thing that I like is Nearpod tries to make the material as accessible as possible. So students not only can answer this question with text, but if you enable this last option, you can allow them to answer with audio recordings as well. So if it's appropriate for that, that's awesome. Once you're ready, go to the bottom right-hand corner and click Save. And now I got a little slide here at the end here that I can click and drag and move it to any point in my slide deck here. Very awesome. That way, yeah, after this first slide, then they will have a little activity section there. So really easy to build some of this out. Most of it is just kind of picking the activity, finding where you're going to put it, and putting the activities in there for students to engage with. Let me showcase a few more of these. We have a nice little Flipgrid integration. If you're familiar with it, you can pull videos from that community into this as well. So you have an opportunity for students to respond using video replies. Pretty nice. We have the Draw It section, which I love, just giving students an opportunity to reply visually. And I think this is really great because what you can do is pull like a template into here. So I'm going to pull a picture. There we go. And I can use that picture as a template. Oops. I uploaded it as an icon. Let me do it from here. There we go. So now there's this picture and students can draw on top of it and make their own versions of this. So I'm going to save this. Great. And whenever they come up to that slide, they will draw on top of it. Other ones that I think are great at taking advantage of is the Collaborate board as well, where you have some kind of topic and then students can take like sticky notes and add their ideas to the topic. So this is really good for like a brainstorming and just getting the ideas out there in front of everybody. So use Collaborate board. Yeah, or there's a memory test where you kind of like the concentration where you flip over a card and try to match things. So there's lots of options on here. I highly recommend, if Nearpod is interesting enough to you, come in here, explore the library for one. The library is huge, but also explore the content and activities and the little things about them. There's definitely not enough time for me to talk about them, but I think it's worth going into. Okay, something to mention here is that there is a limit on Nearpod accounts. I believe it's 500 megabytes of storage here for free accounts. I might be wrong on that, but that's the idea that's coming from me. If it's wrong, I'll correct it later. But for right now, I'm going to click and save here, bottom right-hand corner, and save and edit. All right, cool. One last thing that I want to show is how to start up a lesson. You just go, right now I'm in my lessons right now. This is the default dashboard. I go over the lesson that I want to start. I can either start this as a live participation, which is what we did earlier, or you can make it a student paced where they can go through the slides and you just watch them interact. Or there is an integration for Zoom. So if you're already if you want to do this and try to do this as a distance learning thing, you can have it to where the code also works as a Zoom invite as well. There is a little bit of setup for that. It might be something that you have to work with whoever is running your IT department to make sure that you have the appropriate permissions for that, but it can be quite useful if you need to get that set up. But once you're ready, click on live participation. And then you basically have the teacher view. You tell your students to go to join nearpod.com. You share out that link, or you could send it through an email, Google Classroom, Remind, Microsoft Teams, any of that. If you're using any of that in there, there's some nice little integrations for that. And then from there, you can control the lesson here. Now, two things to point out while I'm here. Top right-hand corner, if you need to impromptu add an activity, there's an option for that. So you can add in things like web content, open-ended questions, draw it slides, true, false, any of that. If you want to build it on the right here while you're still in the lesson, you can do that. Additionally, you can click the S button on the top right-hand corner to switch to student view, because while you're in teacher view, you can't really see the activity. So if you need to see what it looks like for them, swap it up to the student view and you can get it done from here. All right. So we're nearing close to the end time here. First of all, I just want to thank everybody for joining me here today. I really enjoy talking about this tool. I think it's really powerful. It doesn't take that much to get set up, and there's lots of resources out there. First thing I want to do is talk a little bit about applications. I want to invite everybody to imagine what this would look like in your classroom. Like, for example, you can use it to substitute doing presentations and videos, just sharing something like that out. And, no one wants to be in that situation when you're just like reading a PowerPoint or something, or, just showing a video and not entirely sure what students are getting out of it. Give them an opportunity to engage here by substituting out and setting up a Nearpod and have them working on this as well. Additionally, you could use any of those activities that I showed you as a formative assessment or a self-assessment. I think there's a lot of wonderful opportunities for students to reflect in here. And even if every student doesn't have a device, if you don't have if you have a shared device situation, or you just want to use this on the board to collect ideas, that is totally fine. You can still kind of work your way around, even if you're not in a one-to-one situation there. Additionally, you could use it to, you could take any of those reports that I showed you and use it to improve instruction, or you could just use it as an opportunity to get feedback. It's all about, making sure that your students' needs are being met, but also you're making improvements and taking out what doesn't work and adding in what does, and just making those upgrades. One last thing is you could use Nearpod to set up kind of a flipped classroom situation. The idea is that you could assign a Nearpod for students to do kind of in a student-paced mode. They can engage at home. They get kind of the basics down at the very least, and then respond to make sure that they understand some of the basics. And then you can dedicate your classroom time for more applications, more group work, more discussions. You just get that extra, just layering different levels of engagement in there so you can get the most out of your lessons there. I am really excited about that one. So I think this is something kind of like at the highest potential of Nearpod that you can really set up and really just make your classroom that much more engaging. All right, I'm almost out of time here, so let me wrap this up a bit. I have the next couple of slides are links to different resources that I think could either extend your learning or give you some tools for first-time users on here. In particular, I think these last two definitely take a look at the very least, bookmark it. Because this one's about the Zoom integration, if that's something interests you. And this is a YouTube playlist filled with beginner's guides that will cover a lot of the stuff that I'll use here. Oh yeah, the top one, definitely take a look at if you're still not convinced on Nearpod's use in the classroom. Or you could share it with other people, that's good too. The next page is about the SAMR model. If that's something that's interested to you, I have a couple of resources there. Even if Nearpod doesn't work for you, this could work for other tools as well. And maybe you could get a little bit more out of some of your tools that you already have in your classroom. So check those out. And then finally, this page right here, big, huge thank you for everybody who's here. I have an evaluation link that I would love for you to do to just help us out a little bit. It won't take you that long, I promise. It's a one page. It will probably only take you like a minute or so. If you go to this link, lowercase t period ly slash lowercase g z as in zebra, and then uppercase K, you can see it's a little Google form. You can fill that out. Just as a reminder, my name is Kashawn Hopkins. I'm joined here with Kurt Bernhardt. Together we make the technology team, and you can reach us at techteam@opsrc.net. I also have a link to the slides on here because I like to, bookend some things. But, you should really check out opsrc.net/techtalks, because if you got nothing else, at the very least, you can get access to all of the other tech talks that we've been doing here. So we have, we're wrapping up Nearpod, but next season, next section, I guess, next unit, I'm going to be talking about lots of brainstorming organizational tools. So really excited to jump into those. We have a button to suggest technology tools in the future. So if you are looking on this page and you're like, hey, where's this tool? I use it all the time and I love it. Please suggest it to us. I would love to have more ideas, especially from people listening to this. And then finally, down over here, we have our archive tech talks. I've done so many of these and I'm going to do more. I'm really excited about what's coming up pretty soon. But here we have the slides and the videos attached to them. So yeah, check them out. I enjoyed doing every single one of them, and I hope you enjoy them too. All right. One last big, huge thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And I hope you all have a wonderful day.